So forget farm to fork. We're going laboratory to legislature in the new season of Where the Food Comes From, which premieres tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on RFD-TV. Host of the show, Chip Carter, joins us now for a sneak peek of what we can expect. Listen, before we even start talking about, I have to tell, congratulations, 5 seasons in the books. Did you ever think that you would really kind of take it? You're about to go into your 6th. This is an amazing run.
I got to say, yeah, we did think it because, I spent the first half of my career, number one, hello, everybody. I don't often get to talk to you on the news anymore. So it's so thrilling to be here. And thank you so much for your support of the show. But I had been doing this long enough. I had been writing. I came from mainstream media, Chicago Tribune, Huffington Post, Washington Post. And I came there back home to the food world a few years ago, and I knew that these were big stories that would play in the city or the suburbs. They weren't just country stories. So I kind of figured if we could ever get our momentum and get out of the gate, that people would start paying attention to the stories of the people who feed us. And that's exactly what we're finding, Suzanne. It's fantastic.
Talk about that momentum, boy. That is definitely what you've got. And I got to tell you, as a viewer, it is so great to get behind the scenes. I mean, and you go deep on some of these farmers and their stories and there's ranchers. So talk about some of the episodes for this season, what we can expect to see.
You know, we get ourselves into some things, and sometimes I'm not even sure. Sometimes I look around and go, "What am I doing here? Should I even really be here?" The season, episode 1 tomorrow night, we go to Wisconsin, and we make cheese with a Dutch lady who actually moved to Wisconsin to raise cattle with her husband. And she started missing her favorite Gouda cheese. She couldn't get what she wanted in the U.S., so she decided, I'll make it myself. And now she's built a very significant Gouda company, and you can even start to find her stuff in places like Costco now. So they turned me loose in the creamery, and they actually let me help make some cheese. We've got a wonderful Vidalia onion homecoming story. We're all so worried in agriculture, who's going to take over the farm? And I'm happy to report as we travel, we meet a lot of young people who are coming home to take over the farm, but we've never been prouder than to tell the story of our good friend John Schumann from Schumann Farms. You see his product as the Real Sweet Onions and Mr. Buck's Onions. Both of his sons are coming home to join the company. And Luke, he's the older, just graduated from University of Georgia in December. He's already on the job. And we'll get a chance to spend some time with those young men and their family and talk about why they're coming home. Maybe the most offbeat one we did, we went to a mansion at the Atlanta Country Club. There's a news anchor who's probably well known to many. She worked for Fox and CNN. She now works for News Nation, Liz Pran. Her husband, Darren O'Day, pitched into major leagues for 15 years, most recently with the Atlanta Braves. Now he's part of the broadcast crew. They're farming in the backyard of their luxurious Atlanta mansion, including chickens. They've got about 30, 35 chickens running around back there. And it's just the greatest thing you've ever seen. It's part of their way of making sure their children understand, even in an urban and suburban environment, where the food comes from.
Chip, I love this. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're just going some different directions. What we want to show people is agriculture is part of every second of every minute of every hour of every life. And we'll go anywhere to show that. And probably our big story for the season, and this is one that's not even been talked about in the news yet, Suzanne, did you know in less than 10 years, we're not going to have any bananas?
I have not heard that, and I hope that's not the case.
It is the case. It is sadly the case. There's a fungus called Fusarium that for the last 20 years has been attacking the world's banana supply. It's just not getting a whole lot of publicity or a whole lot of attention. The trees are not surviving, and they're not going to survive but there is one ray of hope, and we found it. I always thought I'd have to go to Central America to tell this story. It turned out all I had to do was go to Raleigh, North Carolina. There is hope. There is a potential solution in the works, and it's on the way to the jungles now to be field tested. If it works, you're still going to have plenty of bananas with your Cheerios. If it doesn't, get ready to say bye-bye bananas. So
I don't want to do that, Chip. I can't have my waffles without bananas. I'm not going to do it. Hey, by the way, you know, I love what you're talking about. You're talking about the next generation, right? We talk about a lot of our farmers aging out. You're going to put the spotlight on that as these kids come back to the family farm. And also, I love the fact that you're, you know, in these urban areas and people can have these farms right there in the backyard and be self-sustainable. That is such an important message. Obviously, you're so passionate about telling these stories, and it really is important to share these stories, isn't it?
Oh, I think it's tremendously important, and it just shows. Number one, I'm very, very proud to represent my rural heritage and my country people. When I decided to make this decision to get out of the mainstream media and come back home, it was to tell the stories of my people, and that's really the thing I'm proudest of. But I think I'm also proudest to be able to show America, look around wherever you are. You may be in a very urban or suburban environment, and you may think farming's not part of my world, but it's all around us, and it's happening very subtly on a lot of levels, from backyards to rooftops to parking lots in inner cities. Obviously, the bulk of it is still going to be out in the country, and that's where it needs to be. But it's everywhere, and we need all of it to feed everybody and to give us a diversity of things that we're looking for. And it's just, I couldn't have picked a more fascinating story to make my big run to the finish, and I'll just keep going. I hope I fall off a tractor when I'm about 103 making this show.
I love it. Well, I got to tell you, as a viewer, we love what you do. Thank you so much for the passion and for all the stories that you bring. It is so great to watch them, and we look forward to a lot more with you, Chip. Thank you for being here. Hey to everyone, your entire team, you bet. Host of Where the Food Comes From, Chip Carter. And again, you want to catch the new season premiere happening tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on RFD-TV.